All right, let's do some composite functions. So let's say I got 4 in this, I'll call this number 1, and this guy will be number 2. And I got 4 problems here. So I'm going to do, let's do these ones, these 2 guys. Okay, f of g of 2, this is f, this is g. So for f of g of 2, the first thing I'm going to do is find g of 2. And then whatever I get, I'm going to plug that into f. All right, so g of 2 would be 2 times 2 plus 3 over 2. That means I'm plugging in a 2 into my function g, right? So g of 2 would be 4 plus 3 is 7. So I get 7 halves, okay? So now f of g of 2 is f of 7 halves because g of 2 is 7 halves. So f of 7 halves is 8 over 7 halves minus 4. Okay, so we can make 8 a fraction if we want. So 8 divided by 7 halves would be 8 over 1 times 2 over 7. When you divide by a fraction, it's like multiplying by the reciprocal. So that leaves me with 16 over 7 minus 4 over 1. Got a lot of work with fractions here. Of course, this would be a lot easier. Oh, I think I missed this. I was just going to say this would be a lot easier if we could go to decimals. So maybe I'll do that now. We probably could have made this a decimal and then subtracted 4 and got our answer there. But decimals are usually a little easier than doing all this fraction work. So 16/7 minus 4, I got negative 1.714, which is 1.71. Okay, how about this one? G of f of negative 4. So first we calculate f of negative 4, which is 8 over negative 4 minus 4, which is negative 2 minus 4, which is negative 6. No decimal needed there. So g of f of negative 4 is equal to g of negative 6, which is equal to whatever I get when I plug in negative 6 here. So let's find out. 2 times negative 6 plus 3 over negative 6. And that should give me negative 12 plus 3 over negative 6, which is negative 12 plus 3 is negative 9 over negative 6, 9, 6, which that should be what, 1 1/2, right? 1.50. 6 goes into 9 one time with 3 left over. Okay. Let's do some more. So these ones with fractions. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, these are the same ones. Okay. So there's 4 problems here as well. So let's do the fraction ones. Let's do this one and this one. Okay. So here are my functions f. New problem, f and g. So let's go ahead and find g. Well, let's find g of 3/5, and then we can find f of g of 3/5. In this case, they want us to leave our answer as a fraction. Okay, good. So f of g of 3/5 equals 7 times 3/5 squared plus 9 times 3/5 plus 6. Okay, great. Not the easiest problem because we got to work with fractions, but it's good to get practice with this. 3/5 squared means 3 squared over 5 squared. So it's helpful 7 times a fraction to make your 7 a fraction, 7 over 1. Same thing with the 9. 9 times 3/5. It's helpful to make that 9 over 1. 7 times 9, 63 over 25 plus 27 over 5 plus 6 over 1. And then I got to make this guy, the common denominator here is going to be 25. So I got to do times 5 times 5 times 5 times 5. So 63 25ths plus 25. 27 times 5 is 135. And that should be 30 over 25. And then I can add those guys together to get my result of that. So the denominator is 25. And then I add the three fractions. So 63 plus 30 plus 135 is 228. I should say add the three numerators over the LCD of 25. Okay, great. That was just G of 3/5. That's what happens when I plug in 3/5 here, if I did that correctly. So then so now I got to answer the question, answer this question. I got to evaluate f of 228 over 25. Oh boy. Well, at least this one's not as complicated. So 3/4 x 228 over 25 minus 3. Let's see. I think 4 will go into 228. So 4 goes into 4 once, into 228. So 4 goes into 22 5 times with 2 left over. So I think that's 57, but I'll check on my calculator. 228 divided by 4 is 57. Times 3 is 6. Oh, that's not right. 57 times 3 is 171. So I end up with 171 over 25 minus 3 over 1, which is 171 over 25 minus LCD is 25. So I would multiply by 25. So 3 is the same thing as 75 over 25. And after all of that, for this one problem, f of g of 3/5 equals 171 minus 75 is 96/25. And if you have a decent calculator, your calculator will do a lot of that fraction work for you. I did a lot of it by hand. It's a bit of a hassle. Let's see if the next one's a little bit easier, since we're going to start with f, the easier function. So f of 1/5 would be, f of 1/5. Okay, good. This one's a little different. So we're going to find f of 1/5, get that, and then plug it back into f. So f of 1/5, let's see if I can do it like this. F of 1/5 is 3/4 times 1/5 minus 3 over 1, which is f of... that would be 3 over 20 minus 3. 3 over 20 minus 3 over 1, which is 3 over 20 minus times 20 times 20, 60 over 20. So I get 3 minus 60 is negative 57 over 20. That's what I get when I plug in 1/5 into f. Negative 57/20. So now what I got to do is just do a regular function evaluation. F of negative 57 over 20. So f of negative 57 over 20 is 3/4 x negative 57 over 20. So we're plugging it back into f, same function, minus 3. 3/4 x minus 3, 3/4 x minus 3. Okay, equals... let's see if I can rely on my calculator a little bit for this one. 3/4 times 57 divided by 20 should be 3/4 times 57 divided by 20 as a fraction should be 171 over 80. Negative 171 over 80. When you get that, well, that wouldn't be that hard to get. This times this is 171 negative. This times this is 80. And then we have to do minus 3 over 1. Common denominator, 80 times 80 times 80 equals 3 times 80 is 240. So negative 171 minus 240. And I get negative 411 on top. So yeah, those are not the most fun problems. That's a lot of fraction work to do with, but it is good to get used to the idea of adding and subtracting fractions, needing the common denominator, and all those operation on fractions.